Hello, Generation 1 Transformer fans. This is Sparkster1701 here, and today I'm going to show off to you the Decepticon or Combaticon Ground Assault Warrior Brawl. Now remember, it's Brawl, it's not to be confused with the Autobot warrior known as Brawn. Brawl here was released in 1986 and was also available in 1987. He would be discontinued in 1988, and he would eventually be replaced in his function by the double target master, Quake. Brawl here is one of the more often criticized Transformers due to the more obvious tank turret sticking out on his backside, as there really isn't anything that can be done to hide or conceal it, so it just sticks out there like a sore thumb. And in many ways it also hurts some of his articulation, because you have to keep it pulled back to allow his arms to rotate. If it's all the way back, his arms are free to rotate all the way around, almost all the way around. But if it's pushed in, then it kind of interferes with how his arms can move. The only other articulation that he has is he can bend at the knees a bit, so you can try to put him in a running pose, but he's going to need some hand support to do that. He's not built for running, folks. So that, in essence, is it. Now let's take a look at transforming Brawl. And to start, we remove his handgun. The tank turret here at the back needs to be pulled out all the way, just like that. You straighten his arms up against his chest, and then pull the whole unit up and over his head. Keeping the turret up, you rotate the legs inward, and then push them together and bring the turret down. And there is his alternate mode, a tank. Specifically, he is a Leopard A1A3 battle tank. For added firepower, first, his turret, when it's in this mode, the turret does rotate all the way around, but you can also add a second weapon here onto the backside. And while that does hinder how far around his turret can go, this cannon at least can pivot up and down. That kind of gives him a bigger field of coverage to make up for it. So now, not only can he shoot ground forces, he can also shoot aircraft. One thing to note on Brawl, is for checking his variation, you have to check the underside of the tank, not the front piece that would be his chest, like it is on the others. You have to check this side, and this right here on this version is made of metal. Later versions of this toy would have it done in plastic as part of Hasbro's method of cutting costs. That was big in 1986 on the toy line. Let's take a look at Brawl's loose pieces, and like many of the small combiner guys that were released at this time, he only had two. The first one would be his handgun, which is described as an electron gun. There's nothing really fancy about it. It just has the post down here at the bottom that connects into his hand. Although this side of it, there's no little holes in there, so kind of depends on, that's more for your preference. If you'd rather display it without the hole being shown, then you'd want to have him facing it this way. Then we also have his extra tank weapon, which is described as a twin sonic cannon. You want to make sure that the hinge in it still works, since it probably can be stress worn since it's not in there that deep. And something else to take particular notice to is the fact that the tabs here are offset. This is how it was released, folks. This is not an alteration of any sort. I have no idea why they did it like this, but this is how it came from the factory. So keep an eye on that, and if you find it like that, don't worry, it's fine. It's supposed to be that way. If it's not that way, then somebody has altered with it. Like the other Combaticons, Brawl was only released as a gift set in Italy and Japan, so everywhere else he was released on a card backer, which we happen to have right here. And as you can see, this card backer is pretty damaged up from removing him from the package, but box art still makes him look kind of tough. It's just a shame that they show that he has elbows when the final toy does not have any elbows. And as you can see, this card backer was from a Target store, and he was sold for about $4. We turn it around here to the back side, and you can see right here we have his robot point. He, like many of the others that were available carded at that time, were worth only half a point. The rest of the top of the package is dedicated to advertising the other Combaticons to encourage you to get them and form Bruticus. Taking a look here at his instructions, here's the basic picture of Brawl. Move it over to see his parts, and then how to make him into an attack tank. Which seems kind of a misnomer if you ask me. So that's what I thought tanks were for. Then now it shows how to transform him. Simple step-by-step instructions, as they all were when they were carded like this. And then down here you can see it. You show how to put the stickers on him. Then over here is the last bit, which tells you how to activate the rub sign, and mention about clipping the robot points that were up here for special mail-aways. And then down here at the bottom, it talks about using the decoder found in box transformers to decipher the tech specs, which were down below here at the bottom. Taking a look at his tech spec now, it has him as a Combaticon, and it's in purple to indicate he belongs to the Decepticons. Gives his name as Brawl and his function as Ground Assault. His motto is, "I was built to be wild." Makes him kind of sound like he's a party animal. Noisy, irritates all nearby. Yep, party animal. Hair-trigger temper. Blusteringly belligerent. A terrifyingly effective warrior. Enormously strong, resistant to most conventional artillery. As tank, goes 45 miles per hour, range 600 miles. Turret-mounted gun, shoots 200 pounds TNT equivalent shells. Twin sonic cannon, shoots powerful, ear-splitting, 300 decibel bursts of concentrated sound energy in stereo. In robot mode, has 10 megawatt electron gun. Combines with fellow Combaticons to form Bruticus. Now we'll get the decoder out here, and we'll place it over so that we can read his vital stats. And it shows that his strength is at an 8, so enormously strong for a small guy. That's probably about on course. For the big guys, that's usually pretty darn strong. His intelligence is listed as a 2, so obviously he fits the stereotype of being incredibly strong and incredibly stupid. His speed is given as a 4, which for a tank, that would be about par for the course. His endurance is at 9, and his rank is at 5. His courage is at 9, and his firepower is at 8, and his skill is at 7. So he's so his tech spec does describe him rather effectively, and makes him out to be a pretty powerful warrior, but with that low intelligence stat, that would make me kind of worried about serving alongside him. He might get a little overzealous and might shoot his fellow Decepticons accidentally. Also, as a carded figure, he, like the other Combaticons, would include a small set of paper instructions to show you how to build them into Bruticus. Brawl would be featured on the second step with Swindle, as they are quite commonly used to form the legs of Bruticus. It says down here at the bottom, each mini vehicle is interchangeable and can form any arm or leg of Bruticus. So you're free to rearrange them as you feel you want it to be displayed. So don't let me or any other Transformer reviewers tell you it has to go this way. You are free to do it as you see fit. And this concludes my review of the Generation 1 Ground Assault Warrior, the Combaticon Brawl. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up here on YouTube. And if you were looking to get yourself a Brawl figure, I hope you found this video informative. Please also remember, my friends, to hit that subscribe button to keep this channel going. And feel free to post a comment. This is Sparkster1701 saying catch y'all later.